Hello everyone and welcome back to round 8 of our F1 2002 career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the last video that went live a few days ago from France, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. As we reach the halfway stage of this season, it has been a very, very interesting title race so far in the early stages. Heinz Frentzen has a 7-point lead over myself in the World Championship. Jacques Villeneuve is just a further 8 points behind me, and all of your top 4 covered by just 28 points as we reach this race. Ferrari and Williams, we have absolutely dominated this season so far. In fact, barely anybody else has had a look in. Well, nobody else has had a podium. And I believe the only couple of top 4 finishes we've seen have been when drivers have either retired or when I had a bit of a rough race out in Albert Park, Australia as well then. But of course, yeah, the Styrian Grand Prix last year, or the Austrian Grand Prix, a very, very interesting one as well. Frentzen obviously taking a very late victory, and that almost catapulted him back into the championship fight later on in the year. He is probably Williams' main man though right now at the moment, so I imagine the team are going to put a bigger emphasis on supporting him as well. Get yourself subscribed. Obviously, we're trying to hit 140,000 subs here on the channel at the moment. And also, if you want to help support us a little bit more, you can click the join button for just £1 a month. You get early access to all of these videos and a few other features as well. But yeah, without further ado though, let's head then back to the Red Bull Ring. Well, if you think mind track limits are bad on the F1 games, go back and watch the IRL 2092 qualifying session here from Austria, because it is in a different league. It was pretty much, back in the day, if tarmac, car. And it seemed to work quite well for them. So turn 1 and what used to be turn 2, the drivers could basically do whatever they wanted. When it came to track limits, luckily the final couple of corners of this lap, there was pretty much gravel outside of the white line, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, meant that obviously running wide through the second half of the lap was very well enforced. Through no help of the FIA, of course, but I've said so far this year, qualifying, that is where I really need to improve. We keep getting stuck behind slower cars too early on in Grand Prix, and well, so far this lap, actually coming away from us quite badly at the moment. We're down to about P5 at the moment. Obviously, P4 is pretty much kind of the worst normal case scenario inside this series, but as we make our way through the final couple of corners, that might be where we end up again at the final turn. A little bit of curb usage. We go P3. Will that be quicker than Schumacher or Villeneuve as Frentzen storms to pole? Well, there we are then. This looks like it could be a circuit where Williams are very, very OP. They're half a second clear, Frentzen and Villeneuve, from myself and Michael Schumacher. I mean, even the Saubers right behind us as well. BAR, McLaren, Renault, Jaguar, everybody not too far away from us. Danica Patrick lines up P5 on the grid, so Sauber have clearly got a rocket ship this weekend. But we've got our work cut out, as once again Marc Genet only good enough for P13 in his McLaren.
Formula One on ITV in association with Texaco.
Welcome to the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3.
Well, Mark thinks we just want to try, or Jeff even I should say, thinks we need to score some points We need to try and get ahead of those Williams and get ahead of them quickly here. I'm going to try and really push early on at the start of this one. Even if we can just get the jump on one of them, it means that we can attack the other throughout the rest of the race. And of course, I mean, in the ideal world, Villeneuve also gets past Frentzen early on. Never thought I'd be saying that inside this career mode. But ready on the grid then, is this going to be a Williams powerhouse today? It's 5 red lights. A mighty long hole, but it is going to be lights out. On away we go there, and neither myself or Frentzen getting off to a particularly good start. Danica Patrick has rocketed off the line in towards turn 1, and oh no! We've been tipped into a spin. No idea who got involved in that one. I think it was David Coulthard, and we've got a safety car for the 2nd time this season. Well, I'm trying to piece this all together then down to that first corner. We were 4 wide on the way into turn 1, and I mean, the BAR car there on the inside is just trying to cut the apex, and then he's kind of committed out of it. So I think he and the Sauber of Jarno Trulli got a little bit stuck together. I mean, Coulthard and I have both gone in, obviously not really expecting 2 cars to be on the inside of us there. So I believe, yeah, Jarno Trulli straight out of the Grand Prix, both Coulthard and myself sent into a spin. And where did Schumacher end up in all of that? He must have had a terrible getaway. Schumacher was all the way down in the back P10. But it worked for us in Baku, so I think we're going to try and go with the same thing today. It looks like Barrichello has had the same idea. If we can take a set of the hard compound tyres along right the way through to the end of the afternoon, that would be really, really useful here. So myself and the Jaguar then into the pit lane. Schumacher's got a 5-second penalty, so again, no idea kind of what happened to our teammate. But I believe we're going to be out there right at the rear of the field. Will we get the jump on Barrichello? Yes, we will. So I think he's got front wing damage as well. Yes, there goes Fisichella past us. We are down in P18. Well, Baku has historically been a circuit that really weirdly has low tyre wear inside the F1 games. I'm not so sure Austria falls down the same route here. If we can get to the end, then we might be in quite a good position. The problem is, of course, we've got a lot of cars to try and navigate before then. Because obviously we can't just sit behind Fisichella. He will lose bags of time to those Williams at the front, though. I believe it is Villeneuve leading the way then, as we make our way out of the final corner. As we get ready then to start lap 4 of this GP, we need to immediately go on the offensive there, straight to the inside of Fisichella, so we timed that pretty nicely at the final turn. Look at Fizzy though, trying to get the elbows out. Clearly not a fan of that one. And again, luckily you can run wide, a little bit wide through turn 1. My rule this weekend is as long as you keep 2 wheels inside the sausage curb, that should be okay. There's Alonso and Raikkonen then battling up the top of the hill. Oh, I mean, Fizzy, fair play to him. Oh, Kimi Raikkonen as well, having a bit of a lock-up down at turn 3 then. So I think he's got problems with that Minardi, because even Alonso was taking time out of him while in a straight line there. And you can see just how much he's catching us off, how slow these cars are. Can we have a look around the outside? Not quite there. Try and get the power down on the exit of the corner. Get to the inside of one of those cars. Again, we need to be moving quickly through some of these back markers, as yeah, Villeneuve leading the way. Oh, trying to really get the power down. That was a little bit wider than I'd want to be through there. Around the outside of Kimi Raikkonen then. We are back up into P15. Looks like Takuma Sato as well got a 5-second penalty at the start. So just like Michael, but rather than necessarily being a backmarker car, it feels like Jordan are just kind of a bit off the midfield, but a bit quicker than Toyota and Minardi have tended to have been so far this year. Although I say that, I think Montoya, he must be up in the points early on in this Grand Prix, so I think he found a way around the chaos down at turn 1 and is now feeling the pressure. So we've already found a way around our teammate's brother. Are we going to be able to find a way around Takuma Sato as we make our way up the hills? Look at this. This is what Austria is known for, wheel-to-wheel racing. And it is fantastic to see. Look at Sato with the defence. There's Genet there trying to have a look around the outside of both Wurz and Juan Pablo Montoya. So we will go around the outside of both Renaults there in a moment. And look at this Montoya, the Colombian. We always knew he was feisty when he was behind the wheel of a Formula 1 car. This one is probably going to be the worst one he ever drove in Formula 1, because he always had pretty good machinery in his time in the sport there, as Genet will get to his inside. We will try and follow the Austrian through, of course. Sorry, no. I always get Genet and Wirtz muddled up. I think it was Wirtz that was Austrian. I think Genet was Spanish? But I don't think I'm getting them the wrong way around. Or wherever Mark Genet was from, he's the next car I want to try and get by here as we have a look down the inside at the top of the hill. So we've got yellows out. Oh, Villeneuve's gone! Jacques Villeneuve then out of the Grand Prix to his second DNF of the season. Has that been a mechanical failure? Yes, it has. So poor Jacques Villeneuve leading the Grand Prix early on, but now his teammate Frentzen, well, he's got clean track out in front. Mark Webber then in his Jaguar. It's been a fairly quiet season so far for Jaguar. They were so good, kind of as Stewart and then in that transition. But they've kind of followed a very, very similar trajectory to what they did in real life, of just slowly slipped into mediocrity with a couple of decent results here and there. So Webber, yeah, pretty quiet season, of course, had that mechanical failure last weekend in France, as we are just not very good at that turn 2. Every single time the AI seems to be able to brake later than me there. I'll try and drag race him off the corner, but nice to see the young Australian with a bit of fight in him. So we're trying to have a look, well, to the outside there, wheel banging. We should be able to get the power down, use all of the curving available to us on the exit the corner, and we can finally swoop through. Oh, again! Webber, though, trying to fight back. I love it. But it was always what made Austria such an interesting Grand Prix, was actually the altitude that obviously the circuit's based at. It is one of the highest altitude circuits on the F1 calendar. It might well, again, be the highest altitude circuit on the calendar once we lose Mexico, which I'm sure we will, obviously, with Perez out of the sport. So, yeah, this place, of course, can be really, really hard on the engines, especially where so much of the circuit's power-orientated as well. So, obviously, with Villeneuve's mechanical failure, it might well be that Williams tell Frentzen just to tone it back a little bit. Or either that or it was sabotage. I may as well try and stir the pot down at Williams. You never know what upset we can cause within the team. I can tell you, Villeneuve will not be happy with that moment there. As here we go, David Coulthard. I was a little bit worried early on we might have made the wrong move coming to Ferrari, but as we again go down the inside of DC, just proving that Ron Dennis definitely made a mistake. So Baumgartner then another one. He's just been in Anthony Davidson's shadow so far this season. He's genuinely had a fairly respectable rookie campaign. Problem is, his teammate is having one of the best rookie campaigns we've ever seen in the sport. That's quite possibly the worst thing I've seen so far today. Danica Patrick still up in the podium places after being part of that chaos at turn 1. Well, I don't think Frentzen has been told to slow down in this Grand Prix. He's still setting fastest laps after fastest laps at the moment. And has already got a good 20-second lead over myself, so we can get within about 4/10 of him, our best lap at the moment. So I think we've got the pace to fight him. Problem is, of course, having to carve our way back through the order early on has potentially been quite detrimental to us. Look at that, Anthony Davidson. What a big defensive drive up the top of the hill. And well, I just completely overfired it in. Oh, there we go. I won't have to try and get around Anthony Davidson yet again then, as he, Danica Patrick, and our teammate all into the pit lane. We've got yellow flags out a little bit further back. I've got no idea what's happened to someone. As Frentzen stays out there then yet another lap. I think the worst thing for us now will be another safety car, because of course it would basically give Frentzen a free pit stop. That being said though, I've mentioned it before when we've come here, the AI at Austria back on F1 2020, they could not work out the pit lane. Oh, there we go, Frentzen then Frentzen into the pit lane, so I mean, we've got an entire sector over us, it feels like at the moment. Luckily all three sectors here at Austria are fairly similar length and all fairly short, so it is going to be close by the time we get out of the pit lane here, but this is pivotal for Frentzen's World Championship hopes. If he can get out ahead of me, I mean, look at, there he is, Frentzen way out in front still. So despite trying the aggressive alternate strategy, we have not got an answer for Williams today. Unless by some miracle I can go quicker than him, which I don't think we will, we could be in for a very lonely second half here. I mean, look at that, Frentzen 106.2. We are getting quicker and quicker as well, with him as the fuel burns off, but only a 106.4. This is what's really painful occasionally on this game, is when Williams have definitely got the margin we're pushing as fast as I can, and we're still just losing a little bit more time. Obviously, last weekend in Le Castellet, it all worked out well when we can get between those Williams cars. It kind of made it worth it, but we've got to try and stay as close to as possible as we can to Frentzen, just to stay in the fight if something goes wrong. So there we go, Mark Genet, Zolt Baumgartner and Mark Webber then into the pit lane. I assume we're going to see more of the hard compound runners diving in as well. Very, very interesting kind of seeing some of the strategies coming out today. There's Barrichello then. So the strategy working really nicely for him right now. I wouldn't quite say it's at the same level, but the fact that Frentzen and I are so far clear of everybody else here at the moment, it's kind of reminiscent of some of the Grand Prix back between Lewis and Max in 2021. Both of us are setting personal best lap after lap and just romping away from the rest of the field. But at the moment, yeah, Frentzen, no matter what I do, just seems to extend that gap by a tenth or two a lap. Oh, damn it. I just got a new fastest lap of the day and I thought, here we go. Maybe we can start reining in Frentzen again. Immediately, he must have been told on the radio and thought, I'll just go a little bit quicker. That was one other thing I was going to talk about. Obviously, shortest track on the calendar. There's going to be plenty of opportunity to lap cars. So that could always play into one of our hands as well. Well, every single lap car then just seems to have spread out a little bit so far at the moment. So I think for both myself and Frentzen here is about ticking them off one by one. Annoyingly though, yeah, that just means they're less likely to bunch up. And Frentzen actually seems to be getting a little bit luckier with them at the moment. I mean, what is that from Sato? Why is he trying to look back down the inside at the first corner there? I was thinking, you know, a lot of people are going to be very, very quick to jump out of the way of a Scarlet Ferrari. But of course, yeah, this wasn't long after Williams dominated Formula 1 as well, back in the 90s. After watching kind of their live reveal and everything else on Friday, I miss Williams fighting at the front, man. Even in my kind of memory of Formula 1, it only kind of briefly happened in 2014, 2015, and Pascal Maldonado won that one time. In 2012, but yeah, it'd be nice if we could get this team back, that team back towards the front. This series has really reminded me of it. There we go, we'll try and claim as much slipstream as we possibly can off around Schumacher as well, as we make our way up the hill, but again, the AI do get a little bit confused when you do things like that. No, Ralph, don't have a look back down the inside. I know the damage model isn't as bad as it used to be, but those little things still scare me. We made our way then towards the kind of front of the lap cars. It's shame to see that, yeah, Juan Pablo Montoya doesn't quite look like he's had the run he needed. Obviously, with a lot of cars getting quicker and quicker towards the end of the afternoon. Still, yeah, those bottom three teams yet to score a point. Of course, yeah, luckily there's a few of you guys as well in the comments that update me on the 2002, like, realistic standings. I think it was last week. Or in the last race, Jenson Button got Renault's first point of the year, because up to that point, it had basically just been, obviously, the Williams, the Ferraris, the McLarens and Anthony Davidson that had scored. Basically, nobody else was getting a look inside the top six. Oh, no! No! Schumacher's gone! What's happened? You've got a safety car! Lay on! Or riding on board then, it's a mechanical failure, so one of the Williams and one of the Ferraris then out of the Grand Prix. And I mean, on the one hand, lucky that it's neither Frentzen or I, but a late safety car here. This could give us an opportunity. Well, we are going to have to try and dive into the pit lane here late on, because, well, we basically have to do the opposite of what Frentzen's done. Frentzen's opted to stay out there, so we've got to try and make a late pit stop here in the Grand Prix. I'm getting very, very nervous, though, because Danica Patrick is getting close to Rubens Barrichello. Where are the team? Where are the team? What is this? I've never seen this before on this game. What? Where were they? I mean, this is the most Ferrari strat in the world. If we come out somehow in P2, that's going to be a miracle. So I've got no idea where Barrichello and Danica Patrick are behind us, but what a potential disaster that has been. It might leave a load of lap cars between us, because I'm pretty certain this will be the only lap behind the safety car. Obviously, races can't end behind the safety car in this game. So what could have been a huge opportunity might be really disappointing. Safety cars coming in. So only Frentzen will have caught the safety car here, and no one else is even going to get a look. How stupid is that? as Ferrari costs us a good few seconds. That gap will still keep coming down to Frentzen. But, you know, I've got my foot to the floor and the game just won't let you do it. I mean, look at that, into the corner. We're still going to be taking time out of it, but surely by the time it goes green again, Frentzen is going to be way out in front. I mean, we've even got lapped cars that are driving slowly. So no idea where Frentzen is, and so much confusion late on in the day, as I think we're about to go green flag racing once again then. Can we try and get the jump on Sato? He's going to move out of the way. But an opportunity, a moment of chaos here in the Styrian Mountains. I don't think anyway we would have caught Frentzen back up entirely, but we certainly would have been close. Well, if there's one positive late on in the day, it will give us one opportunity to really try and go and see if we can attack Frentzen's fastest lap time here. But the gap's still 11 seconds then, as we will do a 1:05.4. But after a moment of madness late on in the day, I think had we stayed out there, of course, we would have been right on his gearbox. But I still think we would have really struggled to do anything against the German towards the end of the race. Obviously, with both our teammates dropping to the wayside, you would imagine now, I mean, that's a hammer blow for both those World Championship hopes. But both myself and Frentzen could still befall bad luck towards the end of the year here. But just like last season then, a rather dramatic safety car for very different circumstances this time. But it is going to be Frentzen that is going to lead us home to the end of the Austrian Grand Prix. Apparently we've lost 4th gear on this very last lap as well, so clearly our car not too far away from breaking down either. But as he rounds his way then out of the final corner, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, back-to-back race victories there. He is here to fight for a World Championship this season. And as we make our way through the final corner, horrendous last lap lines, we had nothing to say against him.
Red Bull pulling out all the stops today. What a great win. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be proud of the victory they secured here.
Well, there we are then. Heinz-Harald Frentzen will take the victory ahead of myself and Rubens Barrichello there. Danica Patrick P3 ahead of Anthony Davidson, Genet, Webber, Baumgartner, Button and Coulthard rounding out our top 10. Even David Coulthard got lapped by the end of the GP there. But what does that do to our championship standings? Well, it means Frentzen now has a 14-point lead at the top of the table, but both of us have a bit of a buffer now ahead of Villeneuve and Michael Schumacher. Davidson's still ahead of Davidson's still ahead of David Coulthard in the championship as well. And luckily, of course, we did not see Danica Patrick get a podium this weekend. Williams now a 27-point lead in the constructors as well, so just building up a little bit of safety at the moment as well there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed. We'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the British Grand Prix.